Take her away.
Hey everybody, welcome back to... What'd you say?
Take her away.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside
Connor.
Gaming Daily for Tuesday. Let's talk way too early about who's already won the next gen.
Oh, another one of these, huh?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they're still doing it. They're still going.
Stofers. The official
got?
Stofers Stovetop account just followed Funhouse.
It's keying out, and it is so bright.
Don't worry about it. It's
so bright.
fine, Patrick. That's very good, Zach.
We see it, and we love it.
Wow.
So it's never too early for some wild speculation. We're no strangers to that. Nobody's won yet, obviously, because the next generation of consoles is still several months away. But so far, Microsoft has jumped out to a bit of a lead on Sony, both in terms of marketing and cloud gaming.
Yeah, Microsoft has consistently been out front when it comes to announcing details about the Xbox Series X, as well as its games lineup. They've got a plan to basically hold a Nintendo Direct-style update every month for the rest of the year to keep dripping out that information.
Like, I know there's some corporate stuff happening here, and that's why Sony hasn't released anything, but it does feel like they're playing chess, and Microsoft is like, okay, here's my move, and then Sony's like they're thinking, they're waiting, but then, like, a year later, Microsoft is like, I guess I'll just go again. I guess I'll just take another turn, and Sony's like,
And while the first announcement of third-party games for the Xbox Series X didn't exactly set the world on fire, we did cover it twice in 1 week, Microsoft has still succeeded in keeping their upcoming machine in the headlines.
Where does that leave Sony? Because some investors are already getting a little nervous about their seemingly slow rollout of the PlayStation 5. So it is true that Sony has made some announcements about the PS5, talking about its specs and of course its super fast solid state drive. But those have really been more on the technical side, and we still don't really know what the console looks like, and we definitely have not seen any games, save for that wonderful epic tech demo.
Last week, a Merrill Lynch analyst suggested to Sony executives that their next-gen console marketing was, quote, a bit inferior compared to Microsoft's.
Sony's chief financial officer, Hiroki Totoki, responded, well, on that point, I think results will be everything. So after the launch, it will become clear, and so we are going to make our utmost effort.
Well, now it sounds like Sony's finally getting off their butts and are about to announce some games.
They held a corporate strategy meeting today, and we learned a little bit more about their plans. Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida said that we plan to introduce a compelling lineup of titles soon. The ever-specific soon.
Soon. Yeah, but how soon is soon? Well, some people think that could mean next month. VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb said that a Sony event will happen in early June. He added that they were originally planning it for June 4, but it might have gotten moved around, but that it'll still happen early next month.
Yeah, Grubb wrote that Sony was originally putting together a roster of first and third-party games to announce at the event. And he also said that we might get a look at the actual console. Finally!
They've got to do something. We're gonna get some kind of Metal Gear Solid remake that Blue Point is working on, right? We're gonna get the Demon Souls thing. God of War 2.
So why is Sony doing this to me? And me personally? It also could be that they're feeling the heat from Microsoft's brisk pace of announcements, and the early marketing game is really important when it comes to launching a console.
When you said brisk pace, immediately my mind just went, iced tea and salsa.
Your brain has been infected by brands, Zach.
New York City.
Try some real tomatoes. Taste the flavor of the Southwest.
Paste is made with big chunks of tomatoes.
It's from New York City.
Well, this stuff's made in New York City.
It's from New York City.
New York City.
New York City.
New York!
New York City.
Yeah, it's easy to screw up, as Microsoft learned this current gen when it botched the announcement of the Xbox One with a bunch of features that everybody hated.
Mandatory Connect in every living room. And Sony had its own missteps with the announcement of a $600 PlayStation 3 that everyone thought was just way too high. It was. So Sony doesn't want to be caught flat-footed here, and they need to start talking about games, not just how great 3D audio is. It's cool, but that's not going to sell the console. They've also been talking a lot about the haptic feedback on the PS5's controller. Again, cool, show us games that we will be using those features with.
Of course, the continuing worldwide pandemic could affect game production too, and some people are predicting that we'll start to see the effects of all these lockdowns starting in 2021.
Yeah, Xbox boss Phil Spencer told Business Insider that certain aspects of game development, like, motion capture, they've completely stopped. He added, if you're waiting for a lot of either large audio work or motion capture, you're held up right now.
Let's just go back to these animations.
Use the at-home mics Xbox.
Nintendo officials have also warned that all this remote working could lead to software delays down the line. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa recently told investors that when it comes to its first-party games, the work-from-home restrictions could, quote, make it difficult to release titles as currently planned.
But for now, Sony is claiming that everything's fine. Cue the dog burning house meme.
Yeah, as of last week, Sony officials said major problems have not arisen in the game software development pipeline for Sony's own first-party studios or its partner studios. You know, so maybe Sony just has a better Zoom connection than the rest of us. They certainly have green screens. Meanwhile, speaking about the future, we got some new details about how Sony's streaming service PS Now is doing, but let's take a minute to look at how you're doing.
Hey gang, with everything going on in the world today, you may have heard about it. It's more important than ever to care for one another. Whether it's a friend you see every day, or a family member you don't get to see enough, we can all feel isolated or overwhelmed during the current crisis. So check up on your friends, check up on your loved ones, but also check up on yourself. You deserve your own love, all right? It's 2020, self-love. Give a call, reach out, offer your support, and get their support in return. Yes, very difficult to stay connected, but we also have the tools these days to do it. And so use those. Use whatever social media platform you want. Do an unsolicited call. And we want to remind you that if you do need support, you can also reach out to NAMI. It's the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, to get support for yourself and learn how to support others too. These are useful tools. So visit NAMI.org, N-A-M-I, or call 1-800-950-NAMI, or 6264. You're not alone, okay? Come on. You got this. Support each other. We gotta have each other's backs. And friends. And heads and faces. None of this makes sense. Call your friends. Call your family. You got this. Bye.
We got some new details about how Sony's streaming service PS Now is doing. They announced today that PS Now currently has 2.2 million subscribers. That comes after Sony slashed the price of the service several months ago and has tried to beef up its offerings.
It's far behind Game Pass, which is basically its competitor on the Xbox One. Game Pass has a whopping 10 million subscribers at last count, so it's leaving PS Now in the dust.
Damn, yeah. Now, in fairness, Game Pass has a much better library than PS Now, and it like, yes, it also offers a lot of new games on day one, but still, that's all a sign that Microsoft could have a leg up on Sony when it comes to cloud gaming.
In fairness, it is better. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said last month that xCloud now has hundreds of thousands of users in preview across 7 countries, with 8 more launching in the coming weeks. All Pacific Island nations, somehow.
Sony hasn't unveiled any kind of equivalent service, but they're almost certainly working on one. Here's the thing. Whatever cloud service that Sony is working on will almost surely be based on Microsoft's technology.
Yeah, you might remember that they announced a partnership last year that will involve Sony licensing Microsoft Azure data centers for cloud gaming and content streaming services. And then on Tuesday, Sony's executive vice president Toru Katsumoto said that he anticipates Sony will develop a very strong partnership with Microsoft in the mid to long term.
Doesn't Sony make a lot of the hardware that goes into consoles for them?
I saw a Diamond Jewelers place that was called Sony Diamond Jewelers yesterday, and it has the exact Sony logo.
When I went to TJ when I was like 18, we stopped at right across the border. We went to Taco Bell. No relation to Taco Bell. It's just a regular ass taco place. He added that Microsoft Azure has splendid cloud technologies, and they have given us clear explanations so far. Each side has its merits, and it seems that our mutual understanding is deepening after discussions.
Yeah, Microsoft's been building out this infrastructure for a long time at the cost of billions of dollars. Sony's obviously decided that it's more cost efficient to just partner with Microsoft rather than, build out their own version. So.
And they're right.
Which means that if or when Sony comes out with its own cloud gaming service, it'll still be playing in Microsoft's field, so to speak.
Yeah, Microsoft is a much bigger company with a lot more resources, and it's clearly been flexing that muscle when it comes to cloud gaming.
So as of right now, it's still early, but Microsoft seems to have an early lead on Sony when it comes to the next generation. At least until Sony announces a bunch of PS5 exclusives next month and immediately takes its crown back.
Oh, I wanted to tell you, when I was coming back from the dentist yesterday, there was a guy in it was like one of those Jeep pickup trucks, you know what I mean? He's got all his windows down, he's got the sunroof back, and then the back part of the Jeep, where there would normally be the fabric, maybe it's not a pickup truck, it's just like a longer Wrangler. He's got the fabric all the way up, and he's got a full-sized American flag off the hitch, and the guy's blasting Sweet Home Alabama, and his license plate says Broseph.
Yep.
And it's like,
Yep.
It's so funny because I was on my bike and we were still keeping pace for like a mile and a half. Every single light he'd come up behind me, and then I was riding alongside him and the song ended, and then it was just like
Started
That's
it
all he
over.
was listening to.
Good.
He had Sweet Home Alabama on loop.
Good.
And was just and he was driving to the bank.
Cool.
I think this was a show that he had no mask on, windows down. He's free.
I'm sure, yeah. There might be a reason that nobody's talking about prices yet for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Some people think that Microsoft and Sony are playing a high-stakes game of chicken, waiting to see who announces first. They're both gamblers by nature.
Sitting on the big-time riverboat gambling table saying, well, I'm not gonna throw my chips down first, not
Yeah.
until this.
And
Yeah, well,